All right, for anyone not with us today, here's our start slide. Your 5556 is due 9/12, which is Monday night at midnight. So if you still have questions on Monday, bring those to school with you on Monday. Yeah, what's up?
You know every 2 seconds, it's every 2 seconds 2 people die and 5 people are born.
How was that?
I would want to verify that math before I trust you, but I know there is some sort of ratio.
I have it up.
Yeah, we'll look. We use that in foundations. We actually will use that in foundations. So, my friend right now is on his way back from a Europe trip, and he actually took off from Ohio a few years ago, heading out to the West Coast via New Orleans first. Now, does anyone know what's interesting about New Orleans, or New Orleans, or Nolans, depending on who you ask? Anish?
That's where jazz was.
That's essentially the invention of jazz came out of New Orleans, like that type of music. Ellie?
Isn't there something related to sea level, like it's below sea level?
New Orleans, the entire town of New Orleans is below sea level. So, forget, this dog has forgotten where she buried her bone. I feel like Marley does that in my backyard all the time. She picks a spot and digs at a rate. A rate. Ooh, there's a very mathy word. A rate.
Oh my gosh.
Of 4/10 of a foot every 10 minutes for an hour.
Oh my god.
Write and evaluate an expression to represent the dog's elevation relative to sea level after digging for 1 hour. Now, wait, if we're in New Orleans, we need to figure out what the sea level reference of New Orleans is. So,
But you said, how is it below sea level?
it's below the level of the water in the sea.
Well, wouldn't water be on it?
That's why it floods so often.
And that
Baton Rouge just had a bad flood.
floating or something? Like, what?
Baton
So,
Rouge-
Because
all-
it's over here.
You go ahead.
Yeah, 'cause it's not. Is it on the coast?
It's close.
Close to
It's a
the coast.
bad idea.
So say the sea's here and New Orleans is here. It's not
Oh,
on the
that New
coast.
Orleans?
So then it would be.
Wow.
But it's over here and it's still here.
Cool.
It's not exactly flooded. But if there's water, it could still be cherry.
What's that? Did you see it?
No, I'm not question.
Land, water, metro. Elevation. Negative. Here we go. Negative 6.5. Should we make our life easy and just go with -6?
Yeah.
So it's approximately 6 feet below sea. It is this far below sea level. So
6 feet?
if I'm just over 6 feet,
Lucky.
if the water had nothing in its way, there would be this much water in New Orleans. However, there is land between it that's above sea level. The issue becomes when it storms really bad and the ocean level rises and hurricane-type waves push water up onto the shores, it dumps into New Orleans like a bucket, and it fills the town like a bucket. So,
How do we get rid of the water?
they have to pump it out or wait for it to go away. Yeah.
I would not like
So,
that either.
we are going to start at a point
Super pretty.
starting at -6 feet.
Wait, how did they find it out?
I'm not. So you guys can research it if you want. I don't know everything. I just know a little bit about a lot of things.
You don't know. Is Baton Rouge also under
You
the
should
sea
know
level?
everything.
I think it's in
Because
the
there's a bad
same.
flooding there.
Yeah, same sort of issue. Yeah, I'm trying that out. That was Mrs. Goldring's suggestion, actually. I don't know why I didn't think of it myself. All right, so you need to be writing an expression for this situation to find out where will the dog be after an hour. Where will the dog be after an hour? So remember, like we did on the Chapter 4 Mastery, your expression should have a start, then a change, then we'll make it an equation when we figure out what it equals.
Oh, I just made it an equation.
Well, I mean, you
like
can't.
that.
Yeah, you can. But an expression without the, or an equation without the answer yet is just an expression.
Wait, so aren't we supposed to be making an expression?
Yeah, but then we'll find the answer.
Oh, okay.
Anyone have an expression for me? Go ahead.
Okay.
First hand up, right?
0.4 in parentheses. And then with 10 on the left side on the outside of the parentheses. Yeah.
But that's every hour. Yeah, but what about
Oh, and then it'd be like times
wouldn't it be like
times
plus
6, not 10.
Wouldn't it be
What if-
divided?
Wait, so you're saying
So,
switch the
instead
10 for a
of 10,
6?
Wouldn't it be a 6?
Why?
Because there are 6 sequences of 10 in an hour.
So an hour is 60. If we divide it by the 10-minute increments, there are 6 of them.
Yeah.
Now somebody else made a correction to your work. Somebody said it. I don't know who did.
Did I say plus,
Saul?
plus an hour?
No.
No, somebody said every hour.
Still not. Somebody said it. I heard it.
I don't get to do the plus negative 6 feet.
Yeah, so we really should start at the negative 6 feet and then add the change.
Oh.
Is the dog digging up?
Nope. No. That's weird. That's not.
So everything's in the negative.
What do I need to change? Somebody give me a hand and tell me what I'm...
Minus 6 times 0.2.
Now, I would agree with that, but whenever I think about change, we're adding the change. Change always adds. It either adds positive or...
Negative 6 times.
But it's not negative time. This is time.
Wouldn't it be negative?
One more and I'm taking it away. There's no reason for that to not be resting on your desk. If it ends up on the floor or anywhere else again, it goes in the trash. We've talked about this multiple days. What can be represented by a negative here accurately? Saul?
0.4.
Yeah, the depth. We're going down. So this 0.4 should be a negative 4/10. Then I do my math. So my negative 6 at first is not going to change. Forget about the decimal for a minute. What's 6 times 4? 24. Now put back in 1 decimal place. So if I was already at a negative 6 and I add a negative 2.4 more, where do I end up?
Negative 8.4.
Andrew?
Negative 8.4.
Negative 8.4. Julian, you are correct, but you gotta be recognized.
Is everything a life
No, we just have to say
That dog is now 8 feet, almost 8.5 feet, below sea
How
level.
is that dog gonna get out?
Who knows? If it was, if it was my dog, Marley, when she stands, her face is here now. Like, not stands on her forelegs, but if she, like, stands up, if she, like, hugs me, whatever. Yeah. So, some dogs are, yeah, she's going to be, like, 100 pounds. Trace.
Oh my gosh.
2 huskies, 1 shepherd. Yeah.
When are you gonna grade the correction?
This weekend. My parents were over last night. We went to dinner. I didn't get grading done. I was working on the SLOs. I'll have your papers back Monday.
What
Huh?
do you have
Why
for
didn't you
dinner?
invite me?
Well, they were the ones inviting. Sorry, be mad at them.
Is it good?
When we talk about these math words, frequency, mean, and median, what does it mean if you talk about the word frequency or frequently? Frequency or frequently? Ellie?
Maybe how often?
How often? So frequency is how many times something occurs. How? What?
You just like write and then you just take it on the tap and it erase.
So my software, and not every smartboard here has the software, I'm kind of a techie nerd, has the 2-finger eraser and the 1-finger select and move. It's a multi-touch. Actually, a friend of mine in college did a presentation on the different types of touch screens, and this is a really basic one. It's essentially an XY grid that just figures out where's your finger in relation to where it thinks the screen is, which is why if you've never seen anyone do this,
Do what?
Yeah, you align it.
this is the only way the computer and the smartboard know how to talk to each other. Is me telling it this point XY, that point XY, that point XY, and it right now is making a rectangle to reference from, and that's how it knows what I'm writing. It's a really cool math application. So guys, when I was in school, nothing like this existed. We would have had an overhead projector in the middle of the room with markers that we would be writing on a plastic transparency.
Yeah, we.
And you'd be the unlucky kid to have the projector on your desk.
Yeah, and this was the first smartboard purchase, so it's actually the oldest in the school. All right, so now working to mean. I always like to joke about mean teachers. Now, obviously, here at Phoenix, we're not really the normal teachers. But, yeah, Jeremiah?
Can I?
Yeah, what is a mean?
Mean is the average.
So how do you find the average?
You add everything up and then divide it by how many numbers.
Yep. So, sum of values, ES, come on, Hudson, divided by the number of numbers or number of values. So it's the sum divided by the amount. If you want an easy way to remember it, it's the sum divided by the amount. Now you have to remember amount is how many numbers. It is not a hashtag. It was originally the pound symbol. Then it was used to represent numbers. And now it's used as a hashtag. The median. Sorry, so my joke with that is the average teacher is mean, which is not a good joke since I'm a teacher. But if it helps you remember it, mean, average, average, mean, it can help you remember it. I'm definitely not average. Thank you. So, thank you. The median.
So he's more mean?
If you buy a medium shirt, as opposed to a small or a large,
Large.
or Andrew?
It's the middle of the amount of numbers.
It's the middle. Now be careful. You need a couple specific words. Middle of the ordered data set. So we have to put things in order before I can find a median. Jeremiah, I'd rather have you writing on your notes as opposed to your bottle. Don't ever try to put a cheat sheet on a bottle. It's very obvious. And they spoof it on TV shows, but people will write on the back side of a bottle label. Yeah, it doesn't work. It's really obvious. We had a kid, this was the funniest, sorry, I'm in like a story mood today, I guess, but we've been moving fast. There was a kid one year, he was taking a mastery here.
Why?
Excuse the interruption. Could I please have Jeremiah Smith to the office? Jeremiah.
So he had a cheat sheet, right? And he should not have had a cheat sheet. He was really stressing, then we talked about, dude, there's no reason to cheat at Phoenix. But so he's taking his test. And your desks are open, and so the teacher was just watching him for a while, and then finally was like, "Come here," and he didn't want to get up because his cheat sheet's under his legs. So then he tried to awkwardly get up and yeah, it was not good. So there's no reason to cheat here. It's just a funny story about All right, so we're gonna use these special words, these vocab words that we've identified, to figure out the mean or median, or what's the other word, the other M word that we will sometimes talk about when we're talking about data?
Mode.
Yeah. Mode. What is mode?
Middle average.
Now you knew mode, but do you not know what it is? Elena?
I forget which one it was, but isn't it the one that was used most? Or
Yeah, if you want to throw it off to the side, mode just equals most. It's the MO that you can remember. Mode, most. Yeah.
Which one is the largest minus the smallest?
That's the range. Yeah, the data range.
Mr. Hudson.
Yeah.
So mode of whatever answer.
So here, there's no mode because this happens 3 times, this happens 3 times, and this happens 3 times. But if one of them happened 4 times, and none of, that was the most amount of times it happened, that would be the mode. But here, there is no mode because some of these tie. So, if we want to look at the mean, the average of this, the thing that you have to realize, and this is what will catch you up when we start, when this is involved in your homework assignments, -10. Like, so to find the mean, can I just add all these up and then divide by 6?
No. No.
Why?
You can't add all of them up. Actually, you can.
Why don't I, Dom? Why don't I just add these up?
Because you're supposed to add all of them up because they're all values.
These are temperature values?
No, that's a frequency.
So if that's the frequency, okay,
You can't add them all up because some of them are negative.
well, I can still add them. I can add positives and negatives. Jeremiah, what do you think?
I think you would find the mean of the top and bottom, but separate.
So if we think about reading this table, what did we say frequency means?
How much of them?
How many times it occurs. So when we think about the temperatures that occurred, we had a -10 3 times.
So
Negative 30.
It will eventually. And then we had a -9 once.
Negative
Then we had a -5 3 times.
30.
Are you trying to find those?
Straight that out.
Yeah, but we are listing the 2 weeks worth of data. There weren't just 6 temperatures collected. There were 2 weeks worth of temperatures. But some days had the same temperatures. So they're not going to list all of the temperatures out in the table. They're going to say -10 happened 3 times. -9 only happened once. -5 happened 3 times. -1 happened 2 times. So now I've got -1, -1. 2 happened 3 times. 2, 2, 2. 4 happened 2 times. And now that's everything.
Don't you have to list them in a certain order for...
These are in order.
Yeah.
yeah, because it's negative.
Lowest,
Oh.
highest. And they're all ordered all the way. By the way, Ellie's taking a road trip. That's why she's like standing, stretching, all that. She's like leaving right after school. So when you take a road trip, you don't want to be stiff when you get in the car.
What road trip? I'm going to Buffalo for a wedding.
Yeah, Buffalo, New York.
I've never been
How?
to
It's like 10 hours to get there, probably. 8, 6. Oh, Buffalo must be close. I'm bad with geography. So. All right. So now, Julie. Yeah, you're fine. Now, as long as you're not disrupting class, I don't care what you're doing. Now we can actually add these up. So I have, like you guys were saying, if I look at all of my negatives, so we had -30, -39, plus another -15. So that takes me to -49, -54, -55, -56. So I get -56. And then positive 8, 10, 12, 14, positive 14. So when I sum these, I've got to add the negatives with the positives. So do I have same signs or different signs? Different. So that means I'm going to need to. Yeah, the negative is the most powerful. And then by how much do the difference between them?
42.
So we get -42 is the sum of those values. Then, Andrew, what do we want to do?
That was just the sum of the values. So we the frequency, we have the frequency, which is L 3 plus 1 is 4. Or anyways, it just adds up to 14, and then we do 42 divided by 14.
So then we divide by 14, and my average or my mean.
-3.
So when I do, and this is the cool thing, 14 has a few multiples that are pretty cool. 42 is a multiple of 14, or 7. You probably know it as a multiple of 7. But this becomes -3 degrees Celsius for the So this is the, guys, high temperature.
That's freezing.
These are all below freezing. These are the only above freezing. This is real data. This is real data for the first 2 weeks of February.
That's freezing.
Their average temperature is 3 degrees below freezing. Now think back to a year or two ago when we had a bunch of calamity days for temperature. We probably had an average temperature. If you only look at like a week or two, we probably had some average temperatures that were negative because we had really cold weather back then. Katie?
Isn't it -3 degrees Fahrenheit?
No, these are in Celsius. This is Canada. Canada actually followed through on their treaty of the meter. You really don't want to get me started on the whole Celsius thing.
We do.
Get it started.
Elena?
Wasn't 13.32. So
That's in Fahrenheit.
Oh.
Celsius, this is what's weird. And actually, Celsius, another way to say Celsius is centigrade. Yeah. The Celsius temperature. Hey, Flynn, I'm up here. I know they're doing stuff, but they're not really making noises. They're distracting. The Celsius temperature grade, and actually, if you drew a thermometer, and if you guys don't know your temperatures, it might help you if you draw a thermometer. Let's say this side is Celsius and this side is Fahrenheit. So you know freezing as being 32 degrees. In the Celsius, it's 0 degrees. Boiling, anyone know Fahrenheit's boiling? It's weird.
212.
212.
How is that boiling? That's way too hot.
It takes 212 degrees. Our body's 98 degrees. Our body's almost 100. And the weather outside can get up to 130 degrees. Is one of the highest temperatures they've clocked. If we boiled at a lower temperature, if water or liquid boiled, our bodies would boil.
Oh, because we got water in.
Yeah. So, because our bodies are mostly water. Boiling for Celsius. Anyone know what that is?
100.
100. So guys, if I were to give you an option of a scale that went from freezing at 0, boiling at 100, or a scale that has freezing at 32 and boiling at 212, which scale do you think you would choose? The centigrade or the Celsius scale. So you can thank the government back in the, I forget if it was the 60s or the 70s, there was a treaty, literally an agreement from all these nations. They signed an agreement saying, we want to have a standard measurement form like worldwide. And the system that makes sense that is based on tens, 100 is tens, is the metric system. Uses Celsius, meters, all of those things, liters. And America was like, yeah, we're on board, we'll do it. And they were like, nah, we don't really want to, forget about them. We agreed to the world that we were going to change and go metric. We never did.
Why are Americans liars?
Not so much that we were lazy. And it would have cost a lot of money to upgrade all of the road signs. Because think about all of our roads are in miles. All of our speeds are in miles per hour. Like time doesn't change in the metric system, but all of our distance markers and maps and things like that, they all would have had to switch over to meters, kilometers, those sorts of things.
Why would they agree to it if they're not going to do it?
I mean, it was a good idea. We should have done it. We should have just incurred that cost back then, so then we'd all be on one measurement system, but we didn't. So I want you guys to try this on your own, listing out, because we had -8 happen 4 times. We had -5 happen 2 times. Now every year somebody's like, do I really have to list out the temperatures?
Yes.
No, you don't have to, but most people make mistakes when they don't list them out. So it's up to you, but you need to find now, not the mean, but the median.
Oh, that's easy.
Be careful, not the mean, but the median.
Yeah, that's easy.
Now there is a way that you can do it without listing if you're practiced at finding the median.
Which
Should I just
one was
get
the
rid of
median
the
again?
back shelves? Should I try to find some like stools for back here or something?
They're so comfortable though.
How you're sitting?
Yes, I just need these.
Get more of these.
What you should do is you
I found them on Buy Sell Trade. I got those used. Those new are like 50 or 60 bucks. You go to TJ Maxx or like one of those places.
That's a lot.
Can anyone recognize, well, no, it's really hard here actually. And actually, this is intentional. So if I list all these out, which we should do, -8, -8, -8, -8, -5, hold on, -5, -3, 1, 1, 1, 5, 5, 5, 5. What process did you take to find the median, Ozzy? Done, 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 done.
One is I trying to do it with applesauce.
Ooh, now wait. I do it a different. You might go right, left, but I go right, left, right, left, because it's just quicker for me. But then when you get towards the middle, check your slashes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Can't find the middle. I
There
got
is
it.
no
Gotta find the rainbow.
It's
So-
-1.
How? You can't just give the answer. You gotta give the process.
We want to
Hey, you're not listening. That's why you got the wrong answer. Listen to how we get the right answer.
Because since it's between -3 and -1, you try to find the middle of the two numbers, which is -1.
There is always a median. There's always a mean. There's not always a mode. That's the only one that there could not be. Here, there's no mode because these both happen 4 times. But the median, if you end up with 2 numbers in the middle, your median is whatever's in the middle of those numbers. -3 to 1, go to 0, go to -2. One more step, -1, -1. They're now at the middle. So our median here is -1.
Ty Hunt to the office, please. Ty.
so mad if they call me again.
Yeah, have they already called you twice today?
Yeah.
I want you guys to take a moment. This is one of the best.
Why is it crossed out?
Let me finish my sentence. I sometimes put in dramatic pauses on purpose.
Stop on.
This is one of the best ways to get better at math. The reason there's X's through those is there is a mistake in both processes. Now, being able to do a process, great, yay, 2 + 2 is 4. Being able to identify somebody else's mistake takes more mental capacity than just doing it. So, I want to take a minute, put your hands down, think. You can chat with a neighbor if you need, but keep it to yourself right now. Find out, circle, and then I want you off to the side to solve it correctly. So find both of their mistakes and then solve it correctly. Oh, you're awesome.
Do not judge my ability to cut
These are
straight on these
sweet.
edges.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you so much. I need to go get some of those things that Beth has now to slide them into because my sticky things don't work. But she got those plastic little things that they like slide into as opposed to like on the it's like clips to it or whatever. So I gotta go get some of those. But hopefully these are lighter than those. Those are too heavy. They keep falling down. But I had them all the way across the side there and they all fell down. It just makes me mad when I get back to school, so I stopped fighting with them.
Well, I hope they're not too heavy.
No. These are perfect. That's exactly what I was thinking about. So thank you, Rosie. In Paula's work,
Oh my gosh. Here.
Dom, let's call these step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And normally mistakes happen between steps. So in what step transition did they make a mistake?
1 to 2.
1 to 2. Now why is this transition where the error is?
Because in GEMDOS, you're supposed to do grouping, then exponents, then, well, in grouping, there's parentheses there, and in 1 to 2, they do what's outside of the parentheses first.
Yeah, they subtracted. They're essentially performing the order of operations backwards. Well, actually, they're jumping around. Sorry. They subtract, then they do parentheses, and then they multiply?
Which is wrong.
Like, what? Like, yeah, what are you doing, Paula? So the mistake comes in there.
I swear.
In Aaron's work, Julian, what do you think?
There's also another thing wrong with Paula's work.
Okay.
It says -2 minus 4, and they put it as a -4. They thought it was a -4 and made it -6.
Okay, so that, don't even overanalyze that. I agree with you that there's like potentiality for issues here, but if we did, we'll talk about the right solution here in a second. So hang on to that thought. But because we already know she made a mistake, don't worry about a mistake that comes after another mistake. It's already messed up.
You screw something up once, then you're probably domino.
And then the bridge falls down. Andrew?
For Aaron's work, it's also 1 and 2. Aaron made the 4 because the minus, or I don't know what.
They took minus a positive and made it plus a negative, which you're allowed to do minus a positive and make it plus a negative. So actually in this step, they didn't do anything.
And I think they multiplied wrong in the second
one. So it's actually here that the error, it's not 1 to 2. 1 to 2, they don't actually do anything. They just rewrite it. They make it look different, but they didn't do anything.
And then they took 1 out of the parentheses.
Yeah.
And then they did, now I see.
This is wrong, but let me show you what they did as Andrew's trying to describe. They multiplied here, but then they did nothing with the -1, so then they just brought it down. When you have a number up against the parentheses, you either have to do the parentheses first or distribute your multiplication. So yeah, totally goofed up there. Paula and Aaron could probably use some help from you guys.
No, you should recommend them to the math books. Math doesn't suck. It's my math.
One of my 8th graders is reading one of those, so hopefully she can give us a book review here in a little bit. All right, now for all of the marbles, as they would say, which was back when people would actually play marbles. That's awesome. I'm not surprised to hear that from you, though. Who can walk me through this process accurately? Honestly?
Okay, so first what you do is I would first do the 5 minus 1.
Yeah, so should anybody doing this correctly. Because there's no point in distributing when you have common like terms. So 5 minus 1 is? 4.
Then I would do the negative. No, I need to do the multiplication first.
So here's the tricky part. You now have options.
Yeah.
My suggestion to you, with all of my heart, I'm not joking, do not leave it as subtraction. Your life will be easier if you turn subtraction into addition. So, if I was doing this, I would do what Aaron had done, making the -2 plus the -4, because all I did was take minus a positive and make it plus the negative. Is anyone confused on how I was allowed to do that? Hey, Saul, you getting these notes written down? You got this step? Okay, thank you. Now, I don't have any confusion because before, is it 4 times 4? Is it -4 times? Like, what is it? Now I don't have any confusion. Now that this is addition, it's -4 times 4. That's the multiplication.
That would be -16.
So, yes. So -2 plus my -16. And then I end up, because Dom can't hold his answer, with -18.
I got -24.
Oh, you did the same thing that.
No, I didn't do the same thing that they did. I did.
So where do you stray off of our process then?
Right around.
Like going from here to.
Oh wait, never mind. I forgot to add that. I forgot the 1-4.
Okay.
I forgot 1-4.
Cool. Always make sure you're carrying everything down. It's fine. I care about that more as a counter than I care about as a shelf. I just want you guys, because I know that some people want to move around a little bit as they work. So being back there and being able to just even shift your weight on your feet can help keep your focus. Actually, I'm going to bring this up at our staffing today. There's these little things that if you do much online, you might have seen called a fidget cube. And I'd love to get some of those. There's 6 different sides with 6 different types of fidget, like things that you can spin, things that you can click, things that you can push buttons like on a pen. So yeah, I'm gonna, and actually Mrs. Goldring shared it on Facebook too and was like, these are so cool. I'm gonna bring it up at the staff meeting. You see if PTSA might be willing to put some money towards those. Renee also needs your help.
Oh, come on.
So let's go 30 seconds, find Renee's mistake. Guys, just quit standing on those for today. Get down, Jeremiah. Get down. I'm not looking to fill out any first aid forms on a Friday.
Are we gonna play Minecraft? Yeah.
Not today. We don't have
Yo,
time.
we have.
When we get through our notes quick enough, we do.
We have 6 minutes.
10 seconds.
She said mine trap. It's like some.
I know what she did. Oh, and the 10 seconds.
Not mine.
All right.
Found it.
From what step to what step? Saul.
From. Okay, never mind. I think I made a mistake.
Jeremiah.
Okay, so from step 2 to 3. Yeah. Wait, but what she did. So her first step was great, but when she got to the second step, to the third step, she did -8 times 2. But she got 16. What she should have gotten was -16.
So let's just bump out right here instead of starting
I got
over.
it right.
Just make it -16,
Yeah.
then minus the 4th.
Yeah.
I did do it right.
There you go. Now, this is where a lot of people try to make mistakes. This is why I don't like subtraction. It makes things more complicated. If I change this subtraction into addition of a negative, I'm starting at a negative value and adding more negative.
You can?
We've done that over and over. Minus a positive
Oh.
is the same thing as plus a negative.
Yeah, I didn't think you could do that with fractions.
If I take away your money, it's the same thing as me giving you a debt or like a loss of money, like a neg.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. We do it at the beginning of the school year. Your student fees. Immediately when you enroll, you owe us like $24 or whatever it is to the district. You immediately incur debt
What is,
What?
but why do we have to have a fee?
to pay for supplies and like electricity and like building maintenance and yeah. Guys, trust me, it's not to pay the teachers. We do not get paid very much. So, this is where people get goofed up. Do I, from -16, get told to go up or go down?
Down.
Down. This is why I make an addition of a negative. If you leave it like this, people think, oh, 16 minus a 4th, and then they make it negative, and you'd end up at -15 and 3/4, which is not right.
Wait, it's not?
No. You're at -16. You're at -16. Told to add a negative 4th. It's like you have debt and you're taking on more debt.
Yeah.
You end up with more debt than you began with.
Yeah,
So it's -16
and the 4.
and 1/4.
Okay, that makes sense.
Julie? Guys, quit. Salt.
Oh, wait,
Making
never
noise.
mind, never mind. I get it.
Think about debt taking on more debt. Do we all have this written down? Please and thank you.
We already did the example.
Yeah. That one, it should have. So here's what happened with my notes. I had the example up where I wanted it, but then my notes ended up going on to a 3rd page. So instead of just front back, it was front back front, and I didn't like that. So I rearranged some things. I didn't realize that I put this so far away from where it was supposed to be. So we're skipping past this example. This, what?
We already did that.
No, this is different.
Paula screwed up again.
Insert a pair of parentheses in order to make subtracting 4 from -2 the correct first step. Andrew?
We just did this on the other page. We put the parentheses around the 4 and you make it -4 and then, well, -2 plus.
This is not the same.
Subtract.
Add in this is just asking, do you understand grouping symbols? Where would I put parentheses to actually make that subtraction the first step? Sam.
You would add it in the front. You would put parentheses put in the parentheses -2 minus 4.
Yeah, I put a parenthesis here and a parenthesis here because now this sum or difference, however you want to talk about it, will be multiplied by this sum or difference, however you want to talk about it. And then Paula's work would actually be right. That's why this is different. This is the same beginning problem, but they ask us, what can you do to change it? Like, what was Paula thinking? Especially because I know I will completely lose your attention. That is everything we'll do today. We'll pick up these last two problems on Monday and then dive into Chapter 6. Your Chapter 5 Mastery is going to be on Thursday because I'm out all day because I have to go to another conference at the WEC. So your Mastery will be on Thursday of this coming week.
I get an apple. I get an apple.
All right. Have a great weekend, guys. Do you have another riddle? What's that?
Good fun. That'd be like a weird